inside a store for the first time in your life that didn't have empty shelves? Well, this is Joel. He's 36 years old, and he's about to do it right now.
Pinga. ¿Qué pinga es esto? Cojones, parece una pelota. 8 dólares. Wow. 8 pesos. Ando en mi niña que no puedo enseñárselo. No puedo enseñarle. Porque me cuesta. En la ropa de loco por comprar toda la carne que hay aquí. Una a una. No he visto tanta carne juntos. Todo se me pega. No quiero un niño. Y más un niño cubano que no tiene eso. Así que, no sé, me duele.
Joey, ¿cómo te sientes?
Fucking explotado.
Imagine going...
That's an adorable video.
It is. It's so heartwarming.
I know. It's awesome. That's so great. I mean, me going through Walmart, I go through Walmart nowadays and I'm like, look at all this crap.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't appreciate this at all. It really takes to be from somewhere where you don't have all this to appreciate. This is why people are so entitled, because they go into Walmarts or Target or, some big store and they don't appreciate all that even though like you go to Walmart, a lot of the options suck, but at least you have options and at least things are cheap and you can buy food and be able to have whatever it is that you need. It's like, but other countries, they don't have that.
No, this is truly a lesson in gratitude. It's really grounding. It's really humbling to watch somebody go through a store that we take such advantage of and just light up with emotion. You can tell it was really striking for him to see so many options, see a store that is filled with food, filled with toys. He even mentioned that when he saw a cake that was $8, he was thinking of his sister and how they don't even have eggs in Cuba. She would probably never see a cake anytime soon. And going through the little toy section and saying that kids in Cuba don't get to experience this whatsoever. It is really, like I said, a lesson in gratitude. It makes you think about all the things that you have.
It's also a lesson in communism.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
like, it's for real. It's like, look at what communists do. The lowest 3 countries that rank on the freedom index, or like the economic freedom index in the world, are all communist/socialist countries: Cuba, Venezuela, and North Korea. All of them rank there. That's what happens. The countries in the top countries in that index are like they have 5 times higher GDP than these other countries have. Because of capitalism making their economies flourish.
Sure, and the left will sell you the story that somehow capitalism is exploitative in some way when it really is not. And I can't stress this enough. Look at all the options that we have here in America to just be successful, to go to a store and see all these different multitudes of foods that you can pick from. And yet the left wants to tell you that capitalism is an exploitative system when it simply is not. And I see this a lot on the left. The argument is that somehow it exploits your labor. No, because we gain things in return in this system. We gain the ability to use money to buy things that are of pleasure for us or for our families, to support ourselves. Capitalism is not exploitive at all.
But what about Denmark?
Right? And then they
You
shoot
mean
back.
capitalist Denmark? Yeah.
Exactly. They shoot back and their leaders say, well, guess what? We're not socialist. We're not communist. Stop using us as an example of that.
Well, Sweden used to be socialist. Sweden started out socialist after World War II. They became socialist, and then they had all these different things that happened that were very bad, and they basically went broke. Sweden went broke. So then they decided to become very capitalist. Leftists here in America, they talk about, we need to increase the minimum wage. We need this socialism. Sweden has no minimum wage. Sweden also has school choice. All these different countries, these Nordic countries, they have that. They cut regulation. Sweden cut its size of the government by 1/3. They got rid of public inheritance or private inheritance. They got rid of gift taxes. I mean, these places are more capitalist than America is. I wish America would take a lesson out of Sweden's rule book and become more capitalist and have less regulations. And hopefully we can actually get more done here in this country. But none of these countries really represent socialism. If you want a real representation of socialism, then you look at this guy who came from Cuba, because that is real socialism. This is why he's so astounded by a Walmart.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear the argument that capitalism is exploitative. If you want to look at exploitative, well, let's look at socialism. Let's look at communism. Let's look at the redistribution of wealth and taking your earnings, things that you have worked hard for, and giving it to other people. That is exploitative, not capitalism by any means. And I hear it a lot on the black community, saying that capitalism specifically exploits black people and that it's somehow founded in racism and bigotry. And that is simply not the case. And if you look back here, we got Tom Sowell up on the wall. He's a big inspiration of mine. If you read his book, Discrimination and Disparities, he talks about how capitalism really is an active deterrent against the sort of racism and discrimination that the left wants to tout about. And he cites all these statistics. If you look back into the 1940s, when really we were segregated as a society, there were active laws that were against people of color. Yet between 1940 and 1960, the black poverty rate decreased from 80% to 40% underneath a capitalist free market. And it goes to show that even with all these barriers set in place for you, the Jim Crow laws, the segregation, the blatant racism that black people are experiencing in America, yet the poverty rate continues to decrease nearly by half its size. Why is that? It's because everybody flourishes in a free market capitalist society.